I just got three things to say. God bless our troops. God bless America. And gentlemen, start your engine!
The NASCAR Cup Series makes its series debut in Mexico City in 6 weeks' time, but it's the Grand Touring cars that get the first crack at the course here this afternoon. Today, 42 cars take to the track on what could be one of the hottest days of the year here on the 5th of May. It's a scorching hot Cinco de Mayo afternoon as we welcome you to the heart of Mexico City at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez for today's Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship race, the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. And a pleasant good afternoon, everyone tuning in to today's intercast of the FMGTC, provided on the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright, and El Sol es muy fuego down here in Mexico. 89 degrees Fahrenheit is the temperature. It feels like 95 Fahrenheit, which means that these GT cars are going to be sliding around Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez like they were on ice today, and the rubber is going to be melting off of these wheels all afternoon. Not to mention that AHR is almost completely flat with nowhere to run nor hide, making today one of the toughest races these drivers will endure here in 2025. 2 weeks ago, back in the United States, Justin Williams and Brooke Paquette took home the wins for GT Le Mans and GT Daytona at the Denver Motorsports Park, and a third of the way through the season, the points are as follows. Beginning with GT Le Mans, Mike Vincent Jr. still holds the points lead, but his dominating grasp on the GTLM lead has been cut into significantly by the 62 of Zachary Fitzwater. Fitzwater 20 points behind that number 78 machine. Skylar Taylor with a good run at Denver will put her name in the conversation in third, 35 points behind. Bradley Ream and Owen Miles round out the top 5, and Radley Sampson and Aguirre Sato round out the top 7 with Sebastian Palmer, the first driver that is more than a full race's worth of points behind that 78 car. Eric Monaco and Caleb Rose round out the top 10, Rose being 125 points behind Mike Vincent Jr. Coming here into Mexico City, then taking a look at the Daytona class. Once again, it is very tight between a lot of drivers here. The gap between first and ninth, only 90 points, with Brooke Paquette coming into today with the points lead. She does start deep in the field in the 21st starting spot for GT Daytona. She's got a lot of work to do if she wants to keep that points lead back away from Logan Alexander, who trails by 20. Esteban Lasser and Dylan Matthews are both 35 points back apiece. Aaron Abel and Nathan Buchanan will round out the top 6 in the point standings for GTD. Daniel Bouchard, Colin Bear, Blake Beauville, and Matt Lagasse round out the top 10. Lagasse, 95 points behind Brooke Paquette. Nearly a full race's worth behind, but still within double digits here in that number 60 car, and he does start on the pole position here this afternoon, so Lagasse will get at least 5 bonus points back here if he is able to take the green flag, and is also able to survive the opening lap chaos here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Last year's race in Mexico was a long one, but a fun one, with a couple of big wrecks right at the start and some really good pit strategy to make for a fantastic race. We look to see more of the same here today, but the biggest X factor is going to be the tire wear. With how flat this course is and how tight some of the corners are here at AHR, keeping your BF Goodrich tires underneath of you is going to be the difference between a great finish and a poor one. Not to mention, right off the start last year, they junked half of the field going into turn number 3. That is going to be one of the many trouble spots we see here this afternoon. And it's a race of attrition here here in Mexico City, there's no better way to spend the Monday off than going racing here on the FMGTC. But with that being said, it's that time of the broadcast again, which means it's go time here in Mexico. We'll take you down trackside to get the most famous words in motorsports to fire them up for the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix.
Drivers, start your engines.
And the engines roar to life on the front straightaway in Mexico City. We're just moments away from dropping the green flag for 50 laps of action here this afternoon. Caleb Rose sits atop the pylon for GTLM. The number 5 Vodafone Toyota will lead the field to green with Riley Sampson starting to his outside in the number 36 Orbit Chevrolet Corvette. The field gets underway. A rolling start here for this field, as is customary in the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. There's the pole sitter for GT Daytona. The number 60 of Matt Lagacy will lead the field to green for the GTD guys. He will be to the inside of that man right there, the number 43 of Alex Lozano. Both those drivers looking for their first wins in the Grand Touring level. For Lagacy, it would be his first ever win here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Making sure everybody rolls off. Brooke Paquette a little slow on the formation lap here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. There is the last winner of this race for the GTLM guys. The 0-2 of Dano Georgi with a good starting position here this afternoon in that Budweiser 0-2 machine. Two Toyotas starting towards the front end of this field here. Taking a look at the track itself as the field goes through the chute between turns 6 and 7. 2 3/4 of a mile long here is the distance of Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, with the track itself being 4 1/3 kilometers long here. For our friends to the south, 17 turns and quite a few trouble spots here at AHR. Those being turns 1, 2, and 3, where we're likely going to see on the start here. Turns 4, 5, and 6, the S is between turns 7 and 11, and turns 13, 14, and 15. Will be the areas where we will likely see some trouble brewing here this afternoon down in Mexico City. Couldn't ask for a better day to have race number 5. Couldn't ask for a better day to celebrate the Cinco de Mayo here this afternoon. It's a little bit overcast over to the east, but it is a hot one like we said in the pre-race show. And that is going to affect the race analysis, which it is going to be a 50-lap race. The fuel window is about 17 laps, so at least 2 stops are going to be on the docket. Potentially 3 would be needed depending on how much these tires wear this afternoon. Dano Georgi and Brad Stover are your 2 previous winners of the Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. Corvette pace car will make the right-hander into the pit area as the field goes through turn number 17. Caleb Rose looking for his first ever win in a Grand Touring car. He will be the control car as the field goes towards the makeshift starting zone with the cores on the left-hand side, the cones on the left-hand side, I should say. Rose and Sampson, a couple of stalwarts on the MBCS level. We'll see the green flag waving in the air. On delay, let's get on the go in Mexico. Rose will get the jump on the outside lane, but here comes Dano Georgi thundering his way through as they go through turns 1, 2, and 3. Rose a little wide, going through the corner, and it's trouble already. That's Matt Lagacy involved. A lot of Daytona cars going around here in the back. Just like we saw last year, how bunched up they are right on the start, and that's going to take a couple of cars out of contention. Only looks like Daniel Bouchard was the only Daytona car that got a significant amount of damage. Comparing to last year's race, Connor Monaco also got a tad bit of damage in the 21. Shuffled back there was a 78 of Mike Vincent Jr., who started second to last here for the Le Mans drivers. He was shuffled really towards the back there in that 78. Back for the race lead here in GT Le Mans. It's Reggie Fogelman, rather Dano Georgi, picking up right where he left off. He was looking to set sail on that Budweiser Camry. Georgi will lead the field into turn number 12 for the first time this afternoon, going into the makeshift kink here between turns 13 and 16. Very, very slow part of the course. Field only going about 30 miles an hour here through turn number 13. Field has got to be very careful going through this tight set of corners. Looking to make it 3 wide was a 25 machine of Michael Brown. Igor Barreto keeps it off the wall, a little bit of debris, and everybody is able to make it through here. Dano Georgi leads by a comfortable amount here, going into turn number 1 for the second time today, and amazingly, everybody was able to make it at least one lap. Scratch that, Matt Lagasse. Trying to see, Matt Lagasse will be going to the pit area. Same thing for the 98 of Aaron Abel, and that is a tough break for Lagasse. Started on the pole position, and unfortunately he's not going to be in the end of this race, and it looks like the 99 and the 8 machine each got together going into corner number 3. We'll take a look and see what happened. But a bad start gets even worse for Daniel Bouchard, and he is very off the pace in that 8 car. So it's not what you want for Daniel Bouchard, who does have 2 wins here on the season so far, but he has been very hit or miss for the rest of it, to say the least. Back in here for GT Le Mans is still Dano Georgi that leads here. Over Reggie Fogelman, Caleb Rose, and Riley Sampson. The 2 pole sitters fall down to 3rd and 4th respectively. Georgi looking for that 3rd career win here, would be the all-time winner in the FMGTC, or the GT Le Mans class. Actually, no, I'm mistaken. He would tie the all-time wins with Mike Vincent Jr., who's got about 1 win last year and has got 2 wins back-to-back to start the season this year. Vincent Jr., ever since those 2 wins, has been very inconsistent, as we see Connor Monaco hit the pit area, a little bit of damage on the back end of that 21 car. Don't see Aaron Abel returning back to the track yet. He is on there according to our telemetry. Matt Lagasse is there. There is Aaron Abel, so all 42 cars so far are on the track, and a lot of drivers that were involved in that lap 1 incident will hit the pit lane. It looks like we may have had another incident. I see a lot of damage to the rear end of Igor Barreto's Ford Mustang. See if the 8 car goes to the garage area, and he will. So only 1 point being assessed to Daniel Bouchard here this afternoon. He will finish last in GT Daytona. Tough break. Matt Lagasse right now holding up the 0-2 of Daniel Bouchard. Rather, Dano Georgi, Daniel Bouchard going to the garage area. Igor Barreto will make his way out of the pit area in that number 14 car, and he will likely go down a lap early here. To the rest of the Le Mans drivers, it's been a tough season for Barreto in both series run here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Not doing too well in the Mission Barbecue Cup Series, and is doing a little bit worse here in the FMGTC. Matt Lagasse right in front of the 0-2 of Georgi. And Georgi is going to try to get around Lagasse. This is a very tough track to pass on. Track position is really going to be the make or break deal with where a lot of these drivers finish. It's all about where you start, and for Dano Georgi, started in 3rd, was able to thunder his way 3 wide to take the race lead after only 3 corners were completed. And he's got some good track position, but he's got to try to get around this 60 car. It's very tough to pass here. It's very tough to pass for the race lead. How about Angel Gutierrez in that number 90 car last month, or rather about 3 weeks ago at this point? Finished all the way in the back end after dominating the first stint at Denver. He finds himself up inside the top 5 in that 5th spot, looking for another good run here this afternoon in that Home Depot sponsored Chevrolet Corvette. Same thing for Riley Sampson and Caleb Rose. Quite a few stalwarts of the Mission Barbecue Cup Series up inside this top 5. In fact, every driver up inside the top 7 will be racing in a Cup car here in a couple of days. Or rather, raced in a Cup car a couple of days ago at Texas World, where they travel a little bit down south here to Mexico City. After a couple of days, and around goes the 60 and the 02 around the stricken number 14. Reggie Fogelman will go to the inside as well. Fogelman still keeping that number 02 within check. 3 wide going into turn number 1 is Juan Rodriguez. The Mexico City native goes off of the front end of the 0-2, somehow keeps it straight. That's exactly what the doctor ordered for Fogelman. He loses it off of 3. Fogelman thought he had the inside covered up, but he bit off more than he could chew there going into corner number 3. He wheel hopped it going off of the rumble strips, and Dano Georgi nearly got taken out there. And he will have his toughest competition of the afternoon so far. Knocked out of contention. A tough break for Reggie Fogelman, who had a tough race last week at Texas World at his home track, and he is not going to have a tough race here in what is essentially his home track here for the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship. That'll put him all the way back into the 7th spot. Igor Barreto likely going to be a moving chicane here this afternoon. We'll see if Fogelman elects to stay on the racetrack here, but these lap-down cars are going to cause a little bit of trouble. To the outside of Juan Rodriguez goes the 0-2, trying to get around the lap traffic, but Rodriguez still trying to hold serve, and that is exactly what Caleb Rose wants to see. Esteban Lasser out of the pit area in the 66. A lot of Daytona cars having trouble. Rodriguez will be passed here. The Mexico City native. I don't believe he canonically has any relation to the Rodriguez brothers of this track's namesake. But nonetheless, not the start that the only Mexican driver in the field would want in his home country. But Caleb Rose right on the back end of his Toyota Gazoo Racing teammate. Couple of Corvettes back in there for 3rd and 4th. I do not see the 06 of Reggie Fogelman, so he has come off of the pit lane here. Onto the pit lane, and a tough break for Fogelman. Let's go back into GT Daytona for the first time in what seems like an eternity. Alex Lozano said thank you very much to the 60 of Matt Lagacy getting caught up in that accident, and Lozano will take the race lead away. How about Logan Alexander? You cannot stop this guy. Alexander has been one of the most consistent drivers here on the Daytona circuit. He finds himself in 2nd. Ryan Durrani with a rare podium appearance here in that 16 machine. And Brooke Paquette. How about Paquette? We need to make sure that Paquette is actually in 4th, and she is. Paquette started this race in 21st, all the way in the back of the field here for GT Daytona. She leapfrogged about 17 spots all the way up to 4th in that 31 car. She has been the biggest mover in this race thus far, and she is looking for back-to-back good performances. But those 2 Dodges here up in the top 5 of this Daytona field are going to be fighting in trouble for Michelle Gavinou in the 12 car. Nearly running into her was the 71. Gavinou with a stark issue there in that 12. Paquette nearly ran her over, and it looks like she got into the 3 and the 5 machines. The 59, I should say, not the 5. I didn't mean to scare Caleb Rose there. So some trouble back with the GT Le Mans crew. So all these guys still fighting for positions, and we'll take a look and see what happened to those drivers. As John Andrews will come off of the pit lane here. 14.39 was his pit stop. The 78 of Mike Vincent Jr. also into the pit area as well. I'm not sure if these guys, because it doesn't look like that Vincent Jr. was caught up in anything. I'm not sure if these guys are already beginning to wear out their BF Goodriches. We're only on lap 7 of a 50-lap event. There is a little bit of damage to Owen Miles' Exxon Corvette, so he was involved in an accident with Michelle Gavinou, which we'll take a look at right now. But we're going to see if anybody else elects to hit the pit lane here. All the Le Mans cars will stay out. Dano Georgi will lead 7 of 7 laps so far this afternoon, but it has been a muy interesante start to this TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix here. And lap traffic continues to be in front of that number 02 car. Caleb Rose waiting in the wings, trying to take that first spot back there in that 5 machine. Fastest lap of the race so far belongs to Riley Sampson, a $1:35. Around Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, and the fastest lap here. Funny enough, Connor Monaco in the 21, who was fighting for his life a lot out there, as Bradley Ream, you caught the tail end of it there at the top of your screen. He got loose and wheel hopped it going through corner number 3. That'll likely be the end of his competitive afternoon. Tough break for a lot of these drivers, and we knew after last year, and we knew coming into today, that turn number 2, turns 2 and 3, to be more specific, were going to be the biggest trouble spots here this afternoon, but looks like we had another incident. Not sure where else it was. Fitzwater's got to be careful going through the S's, trying to get around Rodriguez here, with Skylar Taylor looking to pounce there in the 45. Straight line speed will carry for Fitzwater. Diving it in deep there was a 75. That's going to put Skylar Taylor a little bit offline there on the 45. Ooh, and contact, and around goes Juan Rodriguez. Rodriguez will stuff it into the outside wall. That's right in front of Kasumi Takashi, who was a lap down. And also is in front of the 43 of Alex Lozano. And actually, I'm an idiot. Kasumi Takashi was the race leader this whole time here. You know, I thought that Takashi was the race leader, but the first number I saw was Alex Lozano. I guess I mistook the 43 for a 40, or the 46 for a 43. So it's actually Kasumi Takashi who's been the race leader here for GT Daytona. Alex Lozano still not far behind there as a couple of Mustangs run 1-2. So that'll put Brooke Paquette in the 5th spot, not the 4th. With the start of this race and how everything is shaped up here, is a little bit of rear end damage to Eric Monaco's Corvette. How everything is shaped up here, haven't had a whole lot of time to pay attention to the Daytona cars. Dano Georgi will reel in Esteban Lasser in the 66. Lasser caught up in that lap 1 incident, very slow through the corner, went the 99 of Nathan Buchanan, so 2 cars will be on the chopping block for that 0-2 machine of Georgi. Looking through the rest of this field here as they run, and still a lot of cars left in this race here. I think we only have maybe 1 or 2 retirees, only one with Daniel Bouchard. 36 cars are on the lead lap right now. It's about to be 35 when Dano Georgi can get around this 66 machine. But it's one thing to catch up to lap down traffic, it's another thing to pass them like we've seen all afternoon long. Here's the 20 of Seb Palmer, with the 59 of Owen Miles, who is 1 lap down. One of the 4 cars that are a lap down here, along with Matt Lagasse. Michael Lewis trying to get around Matt Lagasse. It's not for a Battle 4 position, but Lewis trying to catch up to Seb Palmer, who is in front of him by about 2.5 seconds. More lap traffic developing in the way of Dano Georgi. That's Connor Monaco. And the 72 of Carson Miller. And the 1 and the 22. Pretty much the back end of this GT Daytona field is all going to be in the way whenever the leaders catch up of Dano Georgi. Bradley Ream hits the pit area in the 40. And a big wad of lap down cars being caught up as the field will snake their way through turns 13, 14, and 15. Georgi continues to lead the way. He is a perfect 10 for 10 this afternoon. Trying to get the 2 for 1 Monday afternoon special in terms of Lat-Town drivers. Esteban Lasser getting around the 99. Georgi will get around 2. Lasser trying to stuff it in deep. Got to be careful. Pass on the outside lane. Georgi will abide. Here comes Caleb Rose with a thundering head of steam. Wasn't able to get the spot. That was a heads-up move by Georgi. He put a lot on the line, tapping the brake and taking the long way around to let Lasser maybe slide job him. Unfortunately for him, Caleb Rose had to back it off. Wasn't able to get full control of that number 5 machine. Roberto Crown Jr. with a little bit of contact onto Buchanan's Mustang. We will remain the same way that we have remained for the last couple of corners here. Esteban Lasser still out in front of Dano Georgi. Not going to be able to get him here on the proverbial back straightaway. You're going to have to catch and get around Lasser on this very, very long front straightaway, which is about 1 kilometer long in itself, maybe a little bit more than that. Georgi is going to try the inside of turn 12. Not able to get there. Riley Sampson trying to look for second underneath of the 5. Looks like a little bit of close quarters racing there with the 2 and the 66. Sampson could not get the run off the inside corner. We'll see if he tucks back in line, and he will, as Georgi will get around Lasser to put a little breathing room between himself and the pole sitter of Rose. We'll see how Caleb Rose races this 66 car. I imagine it's going to be a little bit more wisely. Wide through the corner goes a 36 of Riley Sampson. He may have an issue. Sampson just let the 90 and the 33 go past him very wide through the corner. Went the Aussie of Sampson. I don't believe he has an issue. That was a very wide entry, and trying to get the run on the outside is Caleb Rose on the 66, but good track position there from Lasser. We'll keep the pick between the 02 and the 5. Go back in here for GT Daytona. It is still a dogfight between Kasumi Takashi and Alex Lozano, and I still feel very stupid for mislabeling Alex Lozano as the race leader, because given Takashi's track record so far and his NASRN appearances, it has been very bad luck. You remember the Winston All-American Series last year, had a couple of hellacious crashes. Had a couple of violent crashes here so far in 2025 as well, but he is good to the go in the 46 so far, with the 43 of Lozano right behind him, and rounding out the podium is that 71. Still looking for a good points day are the 71 and the 31 cars respectively. And Dano Georgi has absolutely set sail. Riley Sampson falling back in the clutches of Nathan Stapleton in a very, very slow lap that last time by for Caleb Rose. Goodness gracious, was 7 seconds off of the pace there. He fell back into the clutches of the 90. I'm not sure he made contact with Esteban Lasser going through turn 15 would be my guess. But a 4-second lead for Dano Georgi here as we work on lap number 13. And trouble for the points leader. Mike Vincent Jr. with an issue in the 78. I believe he wheel hopped it going into turn 3. We'll take a look and see what happened. Turn 3 has been Calamity Corner, as it usually is here at Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, and it just snagged another victim. This time the points leader for GTLM, and that is a very, very significant point swing. Now we're taking a look at the points here for the Le Mans drivers. Zachary Fitzwater only 20 points back of Mike Vincent Jr. Fitzwater has had a little bit of issues in the early stages of this contest. He currently sits deep in the field in 11th. But Mike Vincent Jr. still far ways back, and things remain the same how they are. Zachary Fitzwater will take the points lead going into Most Sport in about a month and a half's time, realistically 2 months' time here, as we enter pretty much the summer break here. After today's race, where it is almost 2 months between races here this afternoon and the next race. All the way on June 30th, part of the Duncan Week of Speed here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Ironically enough, the Tim Hortons Canada Day Classic will open up the Duncan Week of Speed. That's in about 2 months' time here, but hard to believe it's already almost that time of year here on the North American Sim Racing Network. I say almost that time of year, acting like it's coming soon. That's in 2 months' time. I'm recording this race on April 25th, realistically. You know, in between races here on the FMGTC, I'm going to be graduating college. I'm going to be looking for a job. Don't know what the future holds, but next time you see us in the booth, I'll hopefully be making money a little bit in the real world here for your boy Trey Wright. But speaking of your boys, your boy Nathan Stapleton, right now rocking P5. He's able to get around Riley Sampson, who had a little bit of an issue there going through turn number 2 a couple of laps ago. We thought that he had a mechanical issue or maybe a tire going down. But Sampson has held firm, and these BF Goodriches have held firm so far. Haven't seen anybody ducking into the pit area for anything other than replacing or repairing crash damage. It's been a run-of-the-mill race so far. You know, of course, you have a couple of accidents in the early going when everybody is stacked up. That's obviously going to happen, as it looks like Alexander... No, I thought Tatiana Nagora was Alexander Rowe. Those two sporting a very similar shade of yellow. But nonetheless, we're working on lap 15 here. Fuel window is going to open at about 2 laps or so for the first of 2 pit stops here this afternoon. Everybody is able to go 17 or 18 laps on fuel. See if we have any early takers off of the pit area. A little front end damage to the 78 car as well, so the bad day getting worse for Mike Vincent Jr. Brooke Paquette will now be in the 4th spot. And now in 2nd is Logan Alexander. So the 2 drivers in the top 2 spots in the points here for GT Daytona will move up a station. Paquette moving up to 4th. Moving up to 2nd, getting around Alex Lozano. This is that 71 machine of Logan Alexander, still looking for his first win in a Grand Touring car, and here we go. Lap 15, going into lap 16 is going to be the magic number. Dano Georgi will be the first GTLM car into the pit area. Agira Sato, his combatant from last season, will join him on the service area. Kasumi Takashi will also come down here on lap number 16, so a little bit of split strategy between both classes, just like we saw. Looks like lap 16 is going to be the money lap for these GT Daytona cars. Four tire stop for Dano Georgi, 1442 off the jack for your GT Le Mans leader. Looks like Lozano, Beauville, 46, Takashi, and a plethora of other cars, including the 31, who is... I don't know if 31 was involved in an accident. I believe that Brooke Paquette may have had an issue, and that's why she was so late coming on to the pit. No, I'm an idiot. She was pitting all the way towards the back there. But that is about a 6-pack of cars. Make it a 7-pack of cars. I'll come in here on lap 16. Carson Miller will hit the service area, and Caleb Rose will lead the GT Le Mans field here down in the service area on lap number 16, going on to 17. And it looks like most of the Le Mans field will come down Owen Miles will get his lap back. Does anybody stay out here for the Le Mans drivers? Caleb Rose in that number 1 pit stall. Everybody for GTLM coming down here. A lap 16 going on 17. A little bit of contact in the pit area. Nothing too bad. Dano Georgi rocketing around turn number 17. And he will get the race lead back from Caleb Rose. Is that a 2-tire stop there for the 33? It is not. 4 tires going all the way around here. Aguirre Sato will gain a couple of spots here in the 49. He'll shoot all the way up to potentially second if he's able to get the run, and he will. Couple more drivers stayed out here for GT Le Mans, the 3 and the 2. Who were able to come down earlier on, who had to come down earlier on in the contest. You see the front end damage to John Andrews' Ace Jaguar. And a little bit of rear end damage on the rear side of the 2 machine. We'll go back in here to see everybody come down for GT Daytona as well. And everybody's staying out a lap here for the Daytona cars, it looks like. Igor Barreto is down. Matt Lagacy will likely come down the pit area once again. We expect these 2 stragglers to stay out a couple of laps, so John Andrews will get a couple of laps logged here, but he is on much older tires. Wide through the corner went Eric Monaco. He'll thunder it back to the inside. Dano Georgi trying to get that second spot away. Those 2 nearly make contact going through 15. Georgi trying to get the run off the corner. He's got better straight line speed than Eric Monaco does. Monaco pulling out just a little bit. We'll see who taps the brake first going into turn number 1. Looks like Georgi trying to get that second spot away from Monaco, and he will. How does he fare going through turn number 3? Nice and easily. Meanwhile, in GT Daytona, trying to see where the rest of the field will cycle about here. Bruno Diacomo will stay on the racetrack. I believe Diacomo is off strategy, so pretty much the entirety of the GT Daytona field that is within striking distance will come on here as Michelle Gavinou. A pick there between the 49 and the 5 machine, as here comes Angel Gutierrez looking underneath Rhodes. Sato, once this cycles out, will be up to second. And he is run off the road there by Juan Rodriguez. That's going to be an opportunity for Rose there. He shoves it in. Not able to get around Sato, and is barely able to get around Rodriguez, as we had some contact in the back there, it looks like. This battle with the lap-down cars has been fantastic, and into the outside wall, the dominant driver of the afternoon in Dano Georgi, his front end destroyed in the Budweiser 02. You play with the lap traffic like Robbie Gordon and you're gonna get burned, and that is exactly what happened with Dano Georgi. And like we saw with Angel Gutierrez, it's not with a mechanical issue this time, but the dominant driver in the first stage of the race will end up potentially on a wrecker here. We'll see if Georgi continues to stay on here, but that is a significant amount of front end damage on that Budweiser Camry. Heartbreak for last year's winner. And the bad day for Eric Monaco continues to get worse. He missed the pit entry, so he will have to go all the way around this 3 1/3 mile long racing facility. And for Dano Georgi, we'll see if he stays out here. You know, he is running, he had a 3.5 second lead over Aguirre Sato. Actually, making a 5 second lead over Aguirre Sato. That was John Andrews, who is still out in front. Both of these front-end cars for GT Le Mans, mind you, have front-end damage. That should clue you in on how stupid this race has been so far. We'll see what the interval is between Sato and Georgi. Does Georgi elect to come into the pit area? And he does. Georgi will surrender the lead in the 0-2. Andrews will continue to stay out here. But the dominant car of the afternoon, as it looks like a couple more stragglers will come in here for GT Daytona. But Dano Georgi, who led the first 16 laps of this race. 15 laps of this race, I should say. Will likely end up in the garage area. What a heartbreak for that O2 machine. They are going to try to repair some of the damage and get him back out there. I don't know how slow he'll be. I don't know of anything right now, but I do know that Aguirre Sato will go to the race lead. He's got Aaron Abel in the 98 right in front of him. And John Andrews is just going to try to run this cycle out here. I'm trying to remember when he came down. I believe he came down on lap 5. So right, either this time by or next time by would be the money lap for Andrews. But the way that this is going to cycle out here, it looks like it will cycle out to Aguirre Sato. And remember, Sato was the only car to come in with Dano Georgi. He's got the dominant track position. I don't know if he runs that cycle. Sato will get the race lead as John Andrews will surrender the lead after leading for 4 laps. And Aguirre Sato, who was in contention last year to win this race along with Dano Georgi, trying to rewrite history last year as Carson Miller with a lot of rear end damage in the 72. Miller got tied up with somebody in the back, I believe. That might be Ryan Durrani, who it might have gotten tied up with. Some front-end damage to Logan Alexander as well, so both he and Brooke Paquette having issues here this afternoon. A ton to review, and nearly getting run over there was that 7-11-72. Somebody else up in here had some front-end damage. It was the 22 of Nagora, who that has been documented so far in this race. "20 laps completed, 30 laps to go here in the Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix, brought to you by TelCel. Logan Alexander is in the pit area. What was a promising day has gone sour for that factory-led number 71 team. Kasumi Takashi, who we believe pit on lap number 15. She did pit on lap number 15. Takashi is still the race leader, and by quite a wide margin, as Bruno Giacomo will be in second. Ryan Durrani somehow still in third, and realistically, this looks to be Takashi's race to lose because Giacomo is off cycle. I don't know what happened with GT Daytona, where pretty much the entire field looked like it disintegrated. Obviously, you guys at home will figure it out. Alex Lozano will return to the track. Something happened there with the Daytona cars. I don't know if it was a big stack up on pit lane, but Takashi was the only one to really survive it. Georgi will return to the racing surface. Currently being shown in the 16th running order here for GT Le Mans. Still a long way to go and a long way to get there. The Budweiser team taking the front end off of Georgi's Toyota and took the hood off of there, rather. Front end is still smashed in, and a bad, or what was looking to be a fantastic day, and would have been a well-needed day for Dano Georgi. Just going quickly sour, thanks to Eric Monaco, who was pulled behind the garage stall. Really tight racing there between Lewis and Ream. Carson Miller has also pulled it behind the wall to put 39 cars on the racetrack. 2 GT Daytona cars have pulled it behind the garage wall. And a big wad of cars up in here. This is going to be tight going into turn number 13. And somehow they make it work for now. Justin Williams, who started this race in 21st, trying to make his way through this field. Up 7 spots in the 14th position here in car number 86 as we approach the midway point of today's contest. It is still Aguirre Sato that leads the way in the 49 with Caleb Rose right behind him. Trying to see last year's race here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. What a whale of a race that was last year at AHR. I do believe it was the 49 that finished in second. Indeed, it was. Dano Georgi got the win. Aguirre Sato finished in second. Caleb Rose finished 1 lap down in 13th last year, trying to improve that. Same thing. Look out. Roberto Crown Jr. A little aggressive there going into turn number 12. Of course, as Rick Allen says, aggressive goes around. You know, again, taking a look at the top 10 from last year's race here. You know, Georgi got the win. Aguirre Sato was second. Michelle Gavinu, who sat on the pole, was third. As Bruno Diacomo will come down the pit lane here on lap 24. Remember, Diacomo is off cycle, and Ryan Durrani will return to the racetrack, this time missing the hood on that Gillette Ford Mustang. Roberto Crown Jr. trying to get another top 10 finish here at AHR. Right now runs in third, finished 7th here last year. Same thing for Skylar Taylor, who right now rocks P10. Don't see her. She's very, very deep in the pylon. Is the Lamont field getting strung out here with all the lap cars filtering through. It's very hard to pass, like we've said. And a couple of the LM guys have been able to figure it out, but not a whole lot of them. Sato still being held up a little bit by Aaron Abel. But the tire wear has not been nearly as bad as we thought it was going to be. You know, a couple of our pit reporters, the scouts on the pit area, went down, inspected the tires. BF Goodrich said they didn't see any cording or any melting. So these guys, in terms of tire wear, are good to the go. Have seen a couple of guys wheel hop, but that was on last year's day. A much cooler day last year than it was here today. Than it is here today, I should say. Next time by will be the halfway point. The TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. Kasumi Takashi still leads over Brooke Paquette. And Paquette 22 seconds behind Kasumi Takashi, who's basically just running qualifying laps right now in the 46, not really racing anybody. There is Paquette. You see the damage to the rear end of that 31 car. Blake Beauville is running for position as well. Same thing for the 88. How about Dylan Matthews? And this has been a name that we haven't mentioned a whole lot here this afternoon. Mentioned it a lot 3 weeks ago. Up in Denver, runner-up finish there for Dylan Matthews. Right now running in the 5th spot, I want to say. Make that the 6th spot for the 26 UPS Cobra. Pretty deep in the field as Everybody trying to filter around lap traffic here for the GT Le Mans cars. Oh boy, a little contact there between a couple of MBCS competitors. And Igor Barreto and Riley Sampson, those drivers will return to the track this upcoming weekend at Bridgehampton. So it's back-to-back road courses here for a lot of these MBCS guys. But back in the front here for GT Le Mans. Cross flags being displayed from the flag stand. We are halfway home in the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix, so no better way to really kick things off here in the second half of the race to figure out where everybody runs. So let's go downstairs for a Twisted Tea race break. As soon as Michelle Gavinu hopefully does not kill that 33 machine. But it is time for a Twisted Tea race break, so let's go down trackside and go through the field here, presented by Fram. Aguirre Sato leads the way in that 49 car, but hot on his heels is the pole sitter of Caleb Rose. Roberto Crown Jr. with his best run of the season so far in the third spot. Angel Gutierrez runs in fourth. Michelle Gavinu deep in the field there after being in a crash. And rounding out the top five here is Nathan Stapleton for GTLM. Durrani still missing a lot of machines here. Got to go all the way back by about 20 seconds to Logan Williams, who runs in 6th in car number 6. Michael Lewis is 7th. Sebastian Palmer runs 8th. Riley Sampson is 9th. Skylar Taylor, I should say, rounds out the top 10. 11th is Zachary Fitzwater, likely going to be the points leader coming out of today, the way the things stand. Bryce Egan is 12th. Justin Williams wide through the corner is in 13th. Going back here is Kasumi Takashi, who is first for GTLM. Right now, 15th is John Andrews. So 14th on the pylon here for GT Le Mans. It's pretty much going through the rest of the field here. There's Kasumi Takashi, who is first for GT Daytona. Second is Brooke Paquette. Third is Blake Beauville. Fourth is Alexander Rowe. Rounding out the top 5 for GTD is Dylan Matthews. There's a look at Dano Georgi, who was caught up in a wreck with Eric Monaco back in the late stages of the first half of this race. Nathan Buchanan runs 36th on the pylon. Bradley Ream deep in the field in the 40s. Same thing for Mike Vincent Jr., who is running 22nd on the pylon here today. Reggie Fogelman is 23rd. There's Juan Rodriguez, not having a good day in the 75 car, down multiple laps. Michael Brown trying to run around here in that 25 car, is inside the top 10 for GT Daytona, but that's really pretty much going to round out things here. Aaron Abel trying to stay on the front end of the lead lap here for these drivers. That rounds out the full field here, presented by Fram. 39 cars remain on the racetrack. Of those 39, 25 are on the lead lap. 3 cars in the garage area, 2 GT Daytona cars, and 1 LM. Aguirre Sato, who came down on lap 15. Couple of laps away from hitting the pit area here. Caleb Rose still right behind him in the 5 car. Came down on lap 15. We'll see if he comes down here in just a couple of moments. But while we got a moment, we're going to step aside here as the first half of the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix has been completed. Aguirre Sato and Kasumi Takashi are your race leaders as we go into our only commercial break of the afternoon here on the North American Sim Racing Network's coverage of the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship, race number 5 from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez.
25 years of design and thousands of man-hours on product development. Flowmaster measures real performance where it matters most. Delivering the power you want, Flowmaster's complete family of performance mufflers outperforms any other street muffler with a sound and tone that's right for your vehicle.
Check out our website, flowmastermufflers.com.
20 people didn't change the steering ratio, so I'll do this once.
We have issues.
Whopper, 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 whopper.
And we welcome you back to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez, race number 5 of the 2025 season for the Flowmaster Grand Touring Championship here on the North American Sim Racing Network. My name is Trey Wright, and we are past the halfway point, approaching the second set of pit stops here this afternoon in Mexico City. Glad to have everybody aboard here. And Aguirre Sato came down at lap number 15. Next time by would be the magic number for Sato to come down. The rest of the GTLM field that is on cycle came down at lap number 16, so they will likely go until lap number 32 to come down into the service area. 39 cars are on the racetrack. 3 cars have been knocked out of this race: Daniel Bouchard, Eric Monaco, and Carson Miller. So far have been casualties of today's 50-lap race at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. "29 laps will have been completed of the Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. Aguirre Sato leads for GT Le Mans and still for GT Daytona, and here we go. Coming down early are Blake Boville, the 26 of Matthews, and Brooke Paquette will come into the pit area here on lap number 29, going on to lap number 30, Kasumi Takashi. I believe she actually did come down, so it looks like the race lead will cycle out here in GT Daytona to the 88 car of Alexander Rowe, who will get at least 1 lap led here for the GT Daytona cars, so things starting to brew strategy-wise for the Daytonas. Fastest lap of the race still belonged to the 36 of Sampson and the 46 of Takashi. So Kasumi Takashi looking to get not max points this afternoon, but still looking to have a fantastic points day here in that Bud Light number 46 car. See if she came into the pit area, and indeed she did. 15-19 off the jack there for that Bud Light number 46. I don't know if she's going to be able to make it to the end here. She came down on lap number 29. We're going to have about 20 laps to go, and these guys are going to be right against the clock here in terms of pit strategy. Moving out of the way, wide to the corner. Look out, there goes the 26, trying to bomb it back to the inside goes Matthews. And here comes Sato. Right at lap number 30, right on the money, just like we said. Aguirre Sato will come down on lap number 30. He is the only GT Le Mans driver to come down, but we expect to be feeding time in 2 laps here for these Le Mans cars. But is the strategy going to pay off here for Caleb Rose? You know, these guys came down on lap 16. It's going to be very, very close. They might have to do, because we figured that they could have done 17 laps, maybe 18. So put them right at 51. If any of these guys were able to extend that opening run to 17 laps, they would have only had to make a 2-stop race, but they would have been very, very, very tight on fuel. Reggie Fogelman into the retaining wall. No harm, no foul done there. And Aguirre Sato trying to find where that 49 car is on the racetrack. And there he is, coming off the pit lane, 14:47. The pit time there for Sato, and he is ripping that Coyote number 49 around this racetrack right now with 20 laps to go in the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. This is always a race where pit strategy is beautiful. And this is where we're going to see another version of that here. We'll see if Caleb Rose will stay out an extra lap here to make it exactly 16, or does he potentially go 17 here? Coming around to complete lap 32. Or to begin lap 32 to complete lap 31. Do we have any other takers for GT Le Mans? And we do. Alexander Rowe will surrender the lead for GT Daytona. Stapleton, Williams, and Gutierrez will hit the pit area for the Le Mans cars. Does anybody else join them? So that'll cycle the race lead to John Andrews in the 3. Remember, he is off cycle after coming down into the pit area earlier on in the contest. So Gutierrez will come down the pit area in that number 90 machine. Let's see where Caleb Rose was able to come out here. Actually, no, Caleb Rose is still the race leader as of right now. Little 3-car battle there. That is the GT Daytona leader, who's in a lot of lap traffic in front of her. Takashi with a straight line speed, trying to get around the stricken 99 and a stricken 06. But here is Caleb Rose. This will be 16 laps completed. I'm going to put Rose right at the money. Same thing for the 33. Those two were two of the only cars that stayed out here. Does Rose stay out an extra lap? He does. So Rose will come out and will likely, if he comes down next time by, that'll be 17 laps. If he pits on lap 33, that'll be 17. If he goes 17 again, that'll put him exactly at lap 50. If Rose stays out another lap here, that's pushing it a lot in terms of fuel. But if he stays out another lap here and comes back down, he is not going to have to worry about conserving fuel. Roberto Crown Jr. and Caleb Rose playing a very, very interesting strategy. They came down on lap number 16. They stay out here and will likely come down to lap 33 to make it an extra lap here after saving a little bit of fuel. I'm really liking that strategy by those two. Everybody else for GTLM will come down here on lap number 32. For them, at least. For the race lead, what will end up being the race lead here in just a couple of moments. Sato right on the back end there of John Andrews. Sato will move his 49 machine to the inside. On track and on the pylon, that's the battle for 5th. But in the race, that'll put Aguirre Sato out front, but he does have a little bit of front end damage. I believe he may have ran into the back of the 3-car. And when you want to save fuel, you need to have your car as streamlined as possible. And that is not the case there for Aguirre Sato. Sato, who is going 15 and 15, is indeed going to have to come down the pit lane again. Caleb Rose will hit the pit area. Roberto Crown Jr. will stay out an extra lap. And that's because he got ran into. Roberto Crown Jr., drama with the 33 camp. He got run into. Not sure if Caleb Rose, whoever ran into him, I believe that may have been Blake Boville. So I think Crown Jr. wanted to come down the pit lane. He has got a ton of rear end damage on that 33 car. And this is going to be very, very interesting. Crown Jr. just trying to baby that 33 car back to his pit stall, but I don't even know if you try to repair the damage. You get that car gassed up and going as quick as you can there, but I think they're going to have to repair some damage, what I'm hearing from the tower. Oh my goodness. That just made this race a complete and utter crapshoot here. For GT Le Mans, it's going to be a game of Russian roulette. Because Crown Jr. is going to lose a ton of track time. So trying to get around him is that 26 car. You know, if Caleb Rose is able to stretch his fuel, he might be able to make it. See, Crown Jr. comes down the pit lane this time, and he indeed will. But it is going to be an extended stop for that Great Clips number 33 machine. Monaco will come down the pit lane as well. We'll see where Aguirre Sato will cycle out here. Sato will take the race lead back with 16 laps to go. So much drama here in the late stages of the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. Gutierrez and Stapleton will come around for laps second and third. How much damage does that 33 car repair? He is going to lose a lot of track position, but he is able to air, making sure that 33 car is full to the brim of octane racing fuel. But is he going to be able to survive and save enough fuel? Right now, Caleb Rose is the only driver that I can confidently say is a maybe in terms of fuel strategy. Everybody in front of him is likely going to have to come down the pit area one more time, and the same thing goes for GT Daytona, trying to find Kasumi Takashi. There she is in the 46 car. Takashi back out in front, she has got a second lead, or a minute lead, I should say, over Michael Brown, who is right now rocking P2. And that lead is going to be expanded there with the 25 coming back into the pit area. Oh, contact there between Brown and Buchanan. I'm not sure. Did Michael Brown pit already? If I'm Michael Brown, Michael Brown might be trying to short pit here between the second and third stop. He might be trying to bridge this gap here with 15 to go, coming back down the pit area. I do not know and do not believe that Michael Brown came down the pit lane already. I'm trying to see if he did. I'll put something on the screen showing that he did, but you know, trying to predict everything, not so sure. Meanwhile, Angel Gutierrez is going to have a bead on the back end of this 49 car. You see the damage to Aguirre Sato, and remember, he sustained damage in last year's race as well. It's not what you want for the Sato camp. That is for certain. He is still leading and has led the most laps in this race officially. Coming around to complete 36 laps here. But who is able to come in and who is able to stay out? Ryan Durrani is back in the pit area. And the 71 machine. Logan Alexander has pulled it behind the pit wall. Something amiss on that car. Was trying to get the points lead back, and it does not look like that'll be the case. Roberto Crown Jr. back out onto the racetrack, trying to see where the how long that stop was for the 33. It was a long one. It'll put Crown Jr. deep in the field there, 12th for GT Daytona. But he is the first car that we can confidently say is going to be able to make it to the end of this race here. Somebody went off going into turn number 12, so I believe that's where the 71 car may have had his issues. Who is going to be able to stay out is the million-dollar question. Who's going to be able to save? Dano Georgi is about to go a lap down here to the 49 of Sato, and I don't believe that Georgi can make it on fuel either. Sato just trying to baby it. You know, you've got a 7.5 second lead over the 90 of Gutierrez. You know, Gutierrez has been solid. You know, I believe there is a little bit of front end damage on Gutierrez's car, if I'm not mistaken. There is, so Gutierrez and Sato are running basically the same car in terms of damage, and I don't know about the 97, who runs right on the back of the 14 of Barretto. Stapleton being held up just a little bit there. Stapleton's car, he does have a little bit of side damage, and he just got whacked there by the 99 of Buchanan. So that's not going to help the handling of that car as well. Giacomo down the pit area here on lap 38. I cannot see that 49 car making the distance here. Mathematically, he's going to be 5 laps short. It's going to be a heartache for Girasato, you know, and it's likely just going to be 2 tires and just gas and go. You know, maybe just putting a can in. Being able to, you're not going to obviously get the full pit stop here, as Bradley Ream and Miles will hit the pit area. Well, we said at the top of the show that this race is a race of attrition, and you have seen it here so far today. Has not been as destructive as we saw in last year's race, but it certainly has torn up a lot of sheet metal. And well, the next 3 tracks we go to really are much of the same. The rest of the tracks, the next 7 tracks we go to, are going to be much the same in terms of chaos. Canadian Tire was a little bit quiet for the standards we've really set here for the FMGTC. Watkins Glen is Watkins Glen. That's all I'm going to say there on that front. Dylan Matthews is back down the pit area. Something amiss on the UPS machine. Her 3rd pit stop of the day, but we'll be able to put Matthews good to the go in terms of fuel. Got 11 laps to go. Kasumi Takashi will snake around in the 46. She was coming down the pit area there for a brief moment. Kashi, I believe, came down on the same lap as Sato, and she did. So she is on a similar fuel run as Agira Sato is right now. She's still got a 30-second lead over Blake Beauville, who has taken the 2nd spot away in GT Daytona. Justin Williams is on the pit lane. So here we go. I don't think that these drivers are going to go to the full length here of their runs. If I'm Agira Sato, I'm waiting until that 90 car comes down the pit area. Or heck, you know, you've got an 8-second lead right now. I would just pit here. I would pit either here or in this next set. You know, you've got the track position. We'll see what the interval is this time by. If you're losing time to the 90 of Gutierrez, you've got to come down the pit area right here, right now. We've seen that the undercut has worked beautifully so far today. If you're catching up, or if you're gaining time on Gutierrez, this will be the telltale hard. That 49 car has got to come down this time by. He just lost half a second to Gutierrez, who ran a flying lap that last time by. Drivers are starting to come down that are not able to make it to the end. We saw Justin Williams come down the service area. We know that the 33 is able to make it to the end. Can he get it to the end there? Around go the 8 and the 22. Bryce Egan able to gather it back and going. Contact between him and Nagora. They're in corner number 13. It's a game of chicken at this point in the contest. Williams will go down a lap in the 86, coming around to 10 laps to go. This time by for Agira Sato. Sato has never won on the North American Sim Racing Network, but can he make it to the end is a definite question. Does he play the strategy game is the other question. Very slow through the corner, and he will. With 10 laps to go, Agira Sato will be the first leader to fire a salvo into the strategy column, and coming with them will be Gutierrez. Stapleton will come down as well. Caleb Rose will stay out for an extra lap. If you're Caleb Rose, you have got to run your best lap of the afternoon so far. You have got to run and you got to drive that Camry like you stole it. And that is exactly what Rose is doing right now with 10 laps to go. Contact between the 49 and the 97. Is it a 4-tire stop? It indeed is. 2 tires is the call there for Angel Gutierrez. That puts him right on the rear end of Aguirre Sato. Sato with a beautiful pit time, 14:22. How about that stop for Logan Williams? I don't believe it'll put him in contention for the win, but it'll put him in contention for a fantastic finish here. But the battle is on. 4 tires was the call for Aguirre Sato, and that may have been the race-winning call. Meanwhile, the 33 and the 46 got together. Some damage on the rear end of the back end of your leader for GT Daytona. Kasumi Takashi with one of the leaders for GT Le Mans knocking on her back door. Right now, that 33 car, who is going to be on older tires but is able to make it to the end mathematically, is going to be in third. It's not going to be a win here for Roberto Crown Jr. and just trying to get around this 46 machine. Now, what does Caleb Rose do on the service area? He will stay out another lap. Zachary Fitzwater pits and comes back out here. I believe Fitzwater just went 2 tires. No, Fitzwater with an extended stop in the 62. Something amiss underneath that Bass Pro Shops Corvette. And that might give the points lead back over to Mike Vincent Jr., who right now runs in 13th. Zachary Fitzwater right now in 19th. So Mike Vincent Jr., the way things shake out, will likely stay the points leader. Skylar Taylor and Bradley Ream having tough days. Same thing. The only driver that's having a solid day here is Aguirre Sato, who is in deep lap traffic with 9 laps to go. When does Takashi hit the pit lane? It is right now. Kasumi Takashi down into the service area. Is it going to be a 4-tire stop? It's at least going to be a 4-tire stop. Fixing the damage. It's only going to be a 2-tire stop there for Takashi, it looks like. Blake Boville will come in right behind her. Does Takashi surrender the race lead? I don't believe she does. Caleb Rose stays out yet another lap in the 5 car. Blake Boville was in 2nd. He will come back out. Takashi was able to get the damage repaired. That might be all she wrote for GT Daytona. Especially being put a lap down, and that'll put the Daytona cars with only one last lap to try to catch that 46 car. Caleb Rose shows the way in the 5. Some of the first laps that he has led here this afternoon. Actually, I believe this will be his 6th lap led. Here on a hot early May afternoon right in the heart of Mexico City. Can the Harlan, Kentucky native of Caleb Rose get the job done here? He does have to pit at least one more time. Seb Palmer right now running in the 2nd spot. Riley Sampson is 3rd. Aguirre Sato right now in the middle of a lot of lap down traffic. He can make it to the end fuel-wise. Trying to catch up to him is Angel Gutierrez. Gutierrez elected to go just with 2 tires, try to get the track position, but a really good pit stop out of that 49 team put him ahead. Gutierrez is just hoping that Sato runs into some trouble here. Trouble could be a brewing with 4 lap down cars on the chopping block for Sato to potentially get around here. Or rather make that only 3 lap down Daytonas. Riley Sampson with a wide exit there. Palmer is down into the pit area. That'll take him out of contention. Remember, Rose did an extra lap there and pit on lap number 33. If he does 17 again, then that'll put him right at lap 50. He's going to be running, and he's going to be sputtering on empty going across the start-finish line if he is able to stretch it out. Really, really don't know. You never know with these kind of things, but that is the beauty of strategy racing. Pit strategy is an art form. There is nothing else like it. Agura Sato was just hoping that the math isn't mathing in the 5 camp. Another wide entry there for the 5 of Rose, who right now Kasumi Takashi has been able to catch up to him in a slower Daytona car. She does have fresher rubber. And Rose right now running, I'd gauge he's running at about 80% throttle would be my guess. Takashi's still the race leader by a wide margin over the 25 of Michael Brown. So 2 leaders run nose to tail with 6 laps to go here from Mexico City. Takashi really deep in as the 2 leaders nearly take each other out. Here comes Takashi right to the inside of the slower Lamage car. Not every day you hear that sentence coming out of our mouths, but that is the reality of the situation. And Rose has got a lot of breathing room. A 33-second lead over the 49 car. And he is doing everything to try and just baby that Vodafone Camry to the end here. If he is able to make it to the end, that'd be heartbreak there for Agura Sato, who had come up short for the 2nd year in a row here in Mexico City. He is praying that the math is not going to work out here for Caleb Rose. And right now with this 46 car of Kasumi Takashi, how she has been running, everyone behind her as Alexander Rowe will come back down the service area. Takashi is the only GT Daytona car that is not a lap down right now and being able to get around this 5 machine. Takashi, you're just running qualifying laps if you're Takashi. You've got Zachary Fitzwater out in front of you. You're likely not going to catch up to him. You are basically just running qualifying laps if you're Takashi. Literally nothing out back because Michael Brown is going to be trapped a lap down here. If you're Takashi, the only way that you lose this race if you're Kasumi Takashi is if you just mess up. If you wheel hop going through turn number 3, if you do something stupid like trying to pass the GTLM leader like we saw. But nonetheless, 4.5 laps to go. Gaining in by 3 seconds that last time by is Agura Sato. He's got 4 fresh BF Goodriches. He's got a gas tank halfway full of octane racing fuel. It's essentially full the way that we run, and he is absolutely putting that 49 car to work. He is whipping it around Dromos Hermanos Rodriguez. with a lot of speed and a lot of moxie. He is cut into that lead by 3 seconds last time by. This time by is going to look to be even smaller of a gap there. But 4 laps to go for Caleb Rose. Rose trying to get around Justin Williams. Williams trying to let that Toyota Camry by. Rose continues to show the way here. 4 laps to go here in Mexico City. The gap cut now another 5 seconds there by that 49 car. Right now, it still would not be enough. The only way that Aguirre Sato is going to win this race is if Caleb Rose goes down into the pit area. And meanwhile, behind the 49 car, next car in line is Nathan Stapleton, who is a long ways back. If Stapleton wants to win this race, he needs a lot to go right, and that's not going to be something in his favor as he punts the 21 car around. Rose continues to stay out here. He does have enough fuel to make it to about lap 50. I don't believe it's going to be lap 49 or 50 that he comes down into the pit area. 3 laps to go here from Mexico City. Caleb Rose trying to just goose this 5 car into a win here today in Mexico City. The gap this time by, if you're Aguirre Sato in that 49, he is blitzing that 49 car all the way around the racetrack. He'll cut into the lead there, only 3 seconds. Egan right on the back end of Caleb Rose. Rose just trying to hold serve in that 5 car. Moment of truth is going to be next time by. And again, the pit area is before the start-finish line, so if Rose comes down on the final lap, that is likely curtains here. With Aguirre Sato 22 seconds behind this 5 car. Bryce Egan will now go to the inside of the Vodafone Camry. If I'm Caleb, I'm just letting him by, and that is exactly what he is going to do there. Rose looking very slow, creeping around the corner. He is just trying to get this car to the end here. Sticks are high in the Mexico sky. 2 laps to go here from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Caleb Rose going into corner number 1. The 49 car now on the same straightaway. On that 1 kilometer long straightaway there, the 49 of Aguirre Sato. Now will cut in another 4 seconds, but he is going to need a Rose to not come down. He's going to need Rose to come down the pit lane in order to win this race. Kasumi Takashi up front still leads by a wide margin in that 46 machine. Barely anything in front of Takashi. He's got a couple of stricken GTLM cars in front of her. The moment of truth is going to be this time around. Because I know Caleb Rose is not going to want to come down the pit lane with 1 on the final lap here with just a little ways to go here. Takashi trying to get around Dano Georgi, who dominated the first part of this race. Takashi will get 2 laps to go here this time by, but for Caleb Rose, The penultimate time around, turns 13, 14, and 15. Slow off of the corner, but a wide entry off of 17. He's going to go the distance. He's going to roll the dice here in Mexico City. White flag, white flag, white flag is in the air here. One more time around. The Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It's the point of no return for Caleb Rose, thundering his way off of turn number 17 as the 49. 15 more corners for Caleb Rose. He has gone the longest on this run that anybody has gone here this afternoon. Takashi looks good in the 46. She'll get the white flag next time by here. But all eyes are on Caleb Rose. He goes through 4, 5, and 6 for the final time today. Sato trying to make like a bat out of Hades here. On the 5th of May, the 5 car, the Cinco car, trying to get it done here. It would be fittingly if Caleb Rose is able to get that number 5 car to Gatorade Victory Lane here. But this is going to be the biggest moment of truth. Very, very slow through the corner. You can see him trying to wiggle it a little bit. He is running on empty. Fumes are being run upon in that Vodafone number 5. Going into the hairpin for the final time today. The moment of truth. Does the fuel stick? Low through the corner goes Rose, trying to gas it off, and he is going to stay out. Off of turn number 17 for the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. The Cinco car, the 5 car of Caleb Rose, stretches his fuel tank. He wins here in Mexico City. It'll be another second place run here for Aguirre Sato here in Mexico. He will once again get the penultimate spot, and the battle for third, not much of a battle, as falling way back was the 90 car. Nathan Stapleton will come around turn 17 to get the job done here for GT Le Mans in that number 3 spot here, the final spot on the podium. Kasumi Takashi, however, has taken the final lap, trying to get her first ever win here on the North American Sim Racing Network, and basically just don't do anything. Literally, don't race Zachary Fitzwater, don't pull a Robbie Gordon. Literally, you could cruise around here at 5 miles an hour and you would get the job done here if you're Kasumi Takashi. Looks like she's doing just that, backing off a little bit there. Dominant driver of the afternoon there has been this 46 car. She started this race in 8th, survived the opening lap chaos, and off of turn number 17, absolute domination there. The Bud Light Cerveza car, the number 46 of Kasumi Takashi, is a winner here on the North American Sim Racing Network. She's the winner for GT Daytona. It's a long ways back for the second spot here for GTD, and it's an impressive battle here for the 2 Daytona cars, but actually they're just pacing around behind this 5 car. So it's going to be Michael Brown and the 26 car of Dylan Matthews. I oversold that battle for just a little bit, and it looks like Caleb Rose is officially out of gas in that 5 car. Able to stretch it to 18 laps this afternoon. And finally on the cooldown lap, that Camry runs dry and he might need a push here to Gatorade Victory Lane. Started in first, will finish in first. And you got to feel there for Aguirre Sato. Dominated the second part of this race, but fuel strategy not going the way that you want it to. Caleb Rose gets the job done here this afternoon in Mexico City. Taking a look at your official race standings as Rose gets a little bit of a bump drive there from Nathan Stapleton. Back to his pit stall. Caleb Rose gets the job done. Aguirre Sato, second year in a row. That 49 car is second here in Mexico. Nathan Stapleton rounds out the podium for GT Daytona. Kasumi Takashi gets the job done for GT Le Mans. or GT Daytona, I should say. These guys, the podium for GT Le Mans, Kasumi Takashi, Michael Brown, and Dylan Matthews. The 3 drivers in the podium for GT Daytona. And nothing short of a fantastic race here this afternoon between these cars. So we take a look at the rest of your results here, where we had 37 cars finish the race. Esteban Lasser had an issue later on in the race, so he was in the garage area. But what a race we had here this afternoon. Like we said a couple of times, it's fitting that the Cinco de Mayo, that the 5 car, the Cinco car, won on the Cinco of de Mayo, the 5th of May here in Mexico. The 5s lining up, I should say. 5, 5, and 5. For Caleb Rose getting the job done here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. We take a look at the rest of your standings still. Your point standings will come up in just a couple of moments here, after race number 5 has been completed. But that'll do it here from the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Congrats once again to Caleb Rose and Kasumi Takashi for winning the TelCel Cinco de Mayo Grand Prix. And the next time we'll see you will be all the way in about 2 months' time here on the North American Sim Racing Network for the Grand Touring cars, at least on June 30th, Monday, June 30th, for the running of the Canada Day Classic from the Canadian Tire Motorsports Park. That race airing at noon Eastern right here on the North American Sim Racing Network. But between now and then, a lot of Mission Barbecue Cup Series action here on the show. Glad we could have everybody on board here for we go towards the midway point in 2025 here on the North American Sim Racing Network. Next time you'll see the Mission Barbecue Cup Series cars will be this Saturday as they take on the Bridgehampton Race Circuit. Here, another good race, another road course race, the second road course race of the season for the Mission Barbecue Cup Series cars. But that is then, and this is now. Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, ladies and gentlemen. Here are your point standings after race number 5 of the 2025 FMGTC season. And from Mexico City, on behalf of the North American Sim Racing Network, my name is Trey Wright. Have a great evening, folks. We'll see you in 2 months' time up in Canada.